find y prime for y equals bracket, 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 bracket. Okay? 4 of them. We'll make each of them fairly nice. Okay. First of all, as far as color coding here, I'm going to put a big dot right there. So you can say this is something times something. Okay? For that red dot, I can think of this as u times v. Okay? Now, when I look at u, I see 2 things multiplied. I'm going to use a different little dot here, and I'm going to think of this function a, and this is function b. And I'm going to think of a little dot here in v, and this is function c, and this is function d. Okay? I'm going to go through it theoretically first, and then we'll do it with the values. Y prime says, when I have a product, and I'm going to look at the red first, so I'll write it in red, y prime is u times v prime plus v times u prime. That's the shortest way you can write it, so you don't have to write a lot of letters. That's our regular product rule. That's if I had 2 things multiplied, and if I think of one red dot in there, that's what it would be. Now, if I think about v prime, okay, now I'm going to go to green. U stays U. It doesn't matter what kind of products there was to begin with. I would still have a u there because it's not an actual derivative. But if I'm thinking about the derivative of v, v is a product. How do we do a product? We keep the first one the same times by the derivative of the second one, plus keep the second one the same times the derivative of the first one. Does that make sense? If we were just looking at a little function, it has another product rule embedded in it. Then I have a plus sign. Now v stays v, but the product, when I want to find u prime, it's another set of products. So I would have to do a would stay the same times b prime, plus b would stay the same times a prime. So now, what does this mean for our equation? We're going to have to start way over here and write it pretty small. Because it's going to be, first you're going to write u, which was x cubed plus 7, x to the 8 minus x to the 7, times by c, which is 6x cubed minus 5x, times d prime,
After school each day, if you could please come down to the office right away, please. We have an important message for you. Again, that's all students that go home on the heading of the school bus after school. Please report to the office immediately for an important message. Thank you.
plus the derivative of c prime, which would be 18x squared minus 5, bracket. And I'm only up to here. Okay? I'm going to put a big plus sign here for that plus sign right there in between. And now I'll write underneath v, which was 6x cubed minus 5x, bracket, 4x to the 8 plus 3x, times by a, which is just x cubed plus 7, times b prime, which would be 8x to the 7 minus 7x to the 6, plus b, x to the 8 minus x to the 7, times by the derivative of a, which would just be 3x. Close that. and we're done. That would be the entire derivative, and you could now imagine if you had 8 things multiplied together. You'd have product rule inside a product rule and over again. Now, as you can see from these, the whiteboard that ends here, or my smartboard, I had to go to a different line. When I was first teaching calculus as a university lab instructor, we had blackboards. So I could just start on one side of the blackboard and just keep on going. That's why these blackboards or whiteboards or whatever they are originally are so long. It's for calculus, so you can do questions in one line like this. Now, a little story. While I was teaching one lab, they had at the front of this classroom platforms. I guess it made the teacher feel more important if they were like 6 inches taller than the students. Then they're more imposing, and you would probably learn better if I was a little higher up, right? Anyway, so they had 3 of these platforms together. And of course, they were just wooden platforms that were slid together. And there was a chair, and I was doing a long product rule one like this. So long, I was holding my textbook in one hand, and I was going over the edge, and I had to put my knee on a chair to keep leaning to right. I didn't know that one of the legs of the chair was right in between 2 of the platforms. So as a result, as I leaned further and further, the platform started to slide, the chair started to tip, and I hit the floor. Right? And I had the textbook in one hand, so I had to save the textbook as I hit the floor. And it was, everybody in that class said that was their favorite class all year when their teacher hit the floor. So, yeah. So I guess maybe that's why, for safety reasons, we don't have platforms in high school. There's probably a lawsuit waiting to happen. Oh, and I have that on record.